Association or fish the next tournament coming up. Right at Central Bowling, Tournament Director for Central Pro-Am Association, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of the Fishin' Magazine television series. This week's stop on the Freedom Tour features Southwest Missouri's famous Table Rock Lake. Beautiful spring weather and great fishing were the norm for the anglers during practice, but as they all found out, that can soon change in a hurry.
Well, there'll be some fish probably caught on everything you can imagine this trip. There'll be people do good on jigs, grubs, probably some stick bait fish still to be caught. I know a few fish are being caught on spinnerbait. I'm probably going to be trying to throw a crankbait. Probably what I'll try to get them to bite. Whether I can, if it's windy tomorrow and cloudy, I may be able to catch fish. If it's still and the wind subsides pretty much, I'm going to have trouble catching fish probably.
Oh, I think it's going to be a heavyweight tournament. I think you're looking at 35 to 38 pounds to win it. There's some good fish being caught. I'm not catching a lot, but what I am catching seems to be pretty good fish. And I know everybody I've talked to seems to be catching a lot of fish. So it's going to be a good tournament. I'll tell you what, I'm kind of in turmoil right now. I don't know whether I'm going up the river or going down the lake. I'm going to make up my mind in the morning when I take off. I've got some both directions.
Well, I've had a real windy practice. The wind's blown real hard for 2 days, but practice has been good. There's a lot of good fish biting, seems to me like, and back to the creeks. And this little cold front that we've got coming in tonight or in the morning will probably shut things down quite a bit. I'm targeting the backs of creeks, backs of coves, things like that.
All my practice is pretty fair. I feel pretty confident I catch a limit at least one of the 2 days, but I'm sure it'll take quite a bit of weight to win this tournament. I'd say it'll take at least about 35 pounds to win the tournament. I love this time of year. The fish are up shallow. They're starting to think about spawning, and they're up feeding up to get ready for the beds.
Brian may change his mind with day one being cold and windy as the fishermen prepare themselves for running across the lake. Lots of our anglers are on fish, including Randall Hudson and Jamie Joyner, who have found some smallmouth. Gail Julian, owner of Jewel Bait Company, and amateur division competitor Joe Rockledge have found some bass as well. Larry Herndon and Scott Clow are just trying to hang on to the fish they are on. Mark Tucker and David Spicer want to make sure every fish they bring in is legal. Tim Taylor and Ronnie Powell are having quite a day. Is that the wave? And Eddie May just might have the smallest bass of the day. Amateur division competitor Jeff Moore thinks so too. When we come back, we'll see who had the right pattern for this windy Saturday. But before that, professional angler Jimmy Davis Jr. has a fishing tip for us, so stay right here.
Brought to you by Ranger Boats.
I like to fish a single hook lure. A jig is something that catches all sizes of fish. The fish on all the lakes eat crawdads all year round. And that's the main thing that's probably changed. I fish a jig 99% of the time, and there's always some way you can catch a fish on a jig. It's just got to figure out how.
Welcome back to the Freedom Tour event at Table Rock Lake. Big weights at this lake are not uncommon this time of the year, and Saturday's weigh-in was no exception.
It was awesome fishing today. We probably caught 50 fish today, but it was just hard getting any good fish, you know, and we just kept, I mean, my arm's sore from pitching that jig.
How many you got today?
I've just got 5 little swimmers, but that's, you got to be in the hunt, and I think tomorrow's going to be the day.
You had to make a pretty big change today, didn't you?
I did. I tried to make it happen down here, but when the clouds and wind, I think that's going to be the deal. But, you know, tomorrow I may not have a bite, but I'm going, you know, you got to go for broke.
I've got a limit.
Limited bass, are they all like that one?
I wish, no. I had a pretty good day. I really struggled. I got a limit, but I'm proud to have everyone I got.
Good sack of fish, 16 pounds leading the event right now. 5 bass, 13.90 pounds. You're right there in that crunch mark right now, Timmy. How'd you catch those fish?
Got 2 on a worm, 2 on a grub, and 3 on a crankbait.
2 and 2 is 4 and 3 is 7. So you had 7 keepers. No wonder they weighed 14 pounds. Bernie from Osage Beach, Missouri, up around the Lake of the Ozarks, bringing 2 bass to us today, 6.30 pounds. That's in the top 5 right now, Bernie, in the amateur division. How many bass you got in that sack?
Just 3.
Not just 3. In the amateur division right now, 11 pounds is leading at 8.15 pounds, 8.15. That's in the top 5 right now in the amateur division, bud. Go catch them for us tomorrow, and we'll have a good check for you. Missed a few opportunities, he said, but he's got a great start here. 3 bass, 7.65. That's top 5 or 6 right now, Patrick. 16 pounds currently leading the tournament. That's going to hold up for now. 14.55 pounds. Great job, Dwayne. How you catching those fish?
We're catching them deep.
Catching deep fish. Those fish aren't as affected by the cold fronts that move into shallow fish, are they?
No.
Going to weigh 1 for big bass. This one weighs 4.30 pounds. Amateur division big bass right now, bud. That could be worth a little bit of money. How many bass you got in here?
I got 5.
5 bass today. 15.55 pounds. How'd you catch those fish, Randall?
Yesterday caught some on Rogue, and boy, they just quit it when that wind turned around today, and I went up catching them on French fry.
Caught them on French fry, the way you like to fish when things get tough. Are they going to be there again tomorrow? It's supposed to cloud up and rain up, or are you going to go back to the Rogue?
No, I'll go back to French fry.
15.5 pounds. Great start, Randall. Thanks for fishing with us. All right, James Booth joins us next on the stage. Going to weigh 1 for big bass. James, a pro division competitor, 6.15 pounds. Hold her up high there. I know you can't talk because it's his fish that you're catching, but apparently you fished a way that you were comfortable.
Yeah, he was doing something that I really like to do.
I know what it
was.
You're not going to tell us what it was?
No, I don't dare. I will tomorrow.
Will tomorrow. Currently leading the amateur division, 11.85. Goodbye, 12.90 pounds. Billy Bird, ladies and gentlemen, your amateur division leader right now. A whole bunch of money on the line for this young man. How many bass you got for us?
I got 5.
5.
He's got 5. Do you have any big ones in there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he does. 5 bass, 12.85 pounds. How's your daddy catching them fish?
They're big.
They're big, all right. How many bass you got in the sack, Jimmy?
Got 5 in there.
5 bass today, currently leading the tournament, 15.55 pounds. Randall Hudson has that. Not anymore. 16 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. There's your leader in the pro division, Mr. Jimmy Davis Jr. Great job, Jimmy. Jimmy Davis Jr. has just a half-pound lead over Randall Hudson. Gary Rusk isn't far behind. In a minute, we're going to take a short break, but not until we hear some tips about tomorrow's strategy. The cold front that had been moving in really intensified overnight, and by Sunday morning, most of our anglers and our camera crews were all saying, rain, rain, go away. In spite of the conditions, Ronnie Lawson and Chuck Bridgewater are still catching fish. But Randall Hudson and Steve Mitchell have their hands full just staying in the boat.
I threw jerk bait for about half the day, and I had one bite on it. It was short. And I went to the French fry, but my main spot, the wind was so terrific, I just couldn't fish it.
But the guy having the most fun is Jimmy Davis Jr., as he and Jack Uxa find that some fish just won't let go of the jig. I'm pretty sure we all got drenched that day, but the rain did slow down somewhat for the weigh-in. When we come back, we'll see if those early weights held up on day 2. Welcome back. Sometimes an angler knows that sticking to a plan can really pay off, but sometimes the fish aren't in on the plan. Limit total, he had 1150 yesterday, 15.85 pounds today, 1585. That's going to get you a nice paycheck, my friend. Thanks much for fishing with us. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for James Booth. One bass right here.
One bass.
5.90 pounds. That's a new big bass leader in the amateur division. That's the only fish you have?
Yes.
Man, Bunky should have told you you were leaving a little earlier.
He did, but we just stayed right there, and one more fish. Felt like a snag.
Well, that blew the old big bass out of the water. 4.30 was big bass. What a beautiful Table Rock largemouth. 12.85 yesterday. How much you got today?
Just a little limit.
Just a lit. You and I are not going to get along very well if you continue to lie to me. 15.20 pounds. 2-day total, 28.05 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Rick Scarberry. That's top 5 right now in the Pro Division. Monty Freilich joins us. Monty from Martin, South Dakota. Going to weigh one for big fish first? Oh, yeah. 6.90 pounds, 690. That's second big bass right now in the Pro Division. How'd you catch her?
Caught it on a brush hog.
It's going to take about, 11 pounds to take the lead. You got it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he says. Got guys over here grunting and groaning, bringing the fish in. Yes, sir, he's got it. 14.65 pounds. 2-day total, 28.55. Is it going to be enough?
Well, I'm not sure. I really don't believe so, but at least I fished a perfect tournament. By that I mean last 5 tournaments I've fished, I've lost fish at the boat. I've boated every keeper this weekend, and at least I won't lose. I may get beat, but I'm not going to lose.
Currently leading the tournament in the amateur division, 16.75 pounds. So you're going to need about 10 pounds, 10.5 pounds with 3 fish. Do you have it?
I hope so.
Where you at, Billy Bird? 10.05 pounds. 10.05. 2-day total, 16.25 pounds. You're a half a pound short, Donald. Half a pound short. Put your hands together. They're second place right now in the amateur division. How were you catching your fish, Tim?
I was on a Lucky Strike grabber grub, a hula grub.
Wow. We're weighing one for big bass, in case you guys didn't notice. 8.20 pounds. What a beautiful fish. Coming up next, our day 1 amateur division leader, Mr. Billy Bird. Had a slim lead over our second place angler. Second place angler was Jamie Joyner that had 11.85. You're going to have to wait to the third flight, Billy, for him to come in to see what he has. Billy had 12.90 yesterday. How many bass do you have today?
Got one.
Boys, are going to be enough. 3.85 pounds. About 16.75 pounds. Is that going to be enough to take home this first place prize?
Boy, I don't know. It was tougher for me today. I hope it's tougher for them.
What area of the lake did you fish today?
James River.
Fished way up in the James. How'd you catch that fish?
On a rogue.
Caught it on a rogue. Fished behind Dave Turpening today. And how much pressure does that put you on when you're leading the tournament going into the second day and you're fishing behind a guy? Do they give you extra room? Do they try to help you any more, or do they just fish as normal?
He gave me all the room I wanted and tried to help me in every way he could. He just
saw these fish bust, and they was busting shad, and he turned me around and put me right in them.
Boy, that's a great pro to have today. 5 fish total, 5 good ones. Pretty good. Yep. Man over there says yep. 10.50 pounds yesterday, currently leading the tournament 28 pounds. Going to have to weigh 18. 18.25 pounds. Wait a minute, we might have a tie. Then we got an overtime fish off.
No, we don't.
28.55 was leading the tournament. 28.75. J.R. Beeler, now your leader in the pro division. Great job. Congratulations, my friend. Here comes our day one leader, Jimmy Davis Jr. Had 16 pounds yesterday. Currently leading the tournament, 28.75 pounds. He's going to have to weigh 12.80 pounds today to take the lead. You got it?
Boy, I hope so.
We heard you had a little opportunity to get down in the water trying to get one out early this morning.
You know, it was pretty hard fishing out there with the wind blowing and the rain, and boy, it's hard to walk in. It's hard on a fat boy walking uphill. But I hooked one, you know, where I normally haven't been getting a bite, and it got hung up in the brush, and it was a pretty good fish.
Needs 12 pounds. He's got it. 14 pounds even. 2-day total. I can add this. 30 pounds even. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your leader right now in the pro division, Jimmy Davis Jr. This win for Jimmy Davis Jr. marks his first as a pro angler in a Central Pro-Am event.
You know, I knew that I was going to have to go out there and I was going to have to catch a limit, and I was pretty confident that I could catch a limit. It was just a matter of where I would probably get those bites from. In the first pocket that I fished, I didn't get a bite out of. The second place I fished, I got like 3 bites out of and only landed 1 fish when I left there. And we've been with the Central Pro-Am off and on for the last, well, since the beginning. So it's been a good experience. It's been a long time coming for me to win one of these pro division titles. It's kind of a personal goal achieved, I guess.
You know, everybody fishes jigs like these, but Jimmy Davis Jr. has some ideas about this bait that set him apart from the rest of the crowd, and it wins tournaments.
I used a brown jig today with a green crawl, and I stayed with that for 2 days in a row. I was using 12-pound test line today, and it was very, very hard to feel those bites because the wind was blowing and had a lot of slack in your line, and you had to fish it into the wind. You couldn't fish with the wind. I went to another pocket that I hadn't fished in about 3 weeks and pulled up in there and caught my 5th keeper, and went a little farther and caught a 3-pounder and got rid of my smallest fish. And that's kind of how the day progressed. I really didn't catch any more fish after I caught the last 3-pounder. That's what I did for 2 days in a row. And unfortunately, yesterday I caught a limit by 8:30 on Saturday, and I kind of saved all the other areas that I had to fish because I hadn't been catching any big fish, and I thought that I probably would need those fish on Sunday, and come to find out I did, so my plan kind of worked.
Well, that wraps up another exciting Central Pro-Am tournament. Join us next time as we head further down the White River to northern Arkansas's famous Bull Shoals Lake. If you'd like